Hello, I'm Richard Vince, and I'm here today to do another Brain Dojo broadcast for you. And today we're going to be talking about loving yourself. Now, there you go. There's a touchy subject for you. Loving yourself. So let's start very simply. Let's say that if you don't love yourself, then it's going to be very difficult for other people to love you. Because if you don't love yourself, there's probably a good reason why you don't love yourself. And that reason may be that maybe you have too many flaws for you to really love yourself. So, the first thing is, if you feel that, then look at your flaws. We all have them. And decide whether you can tweak them, you can change them, you can make them smaller, less obtrusive, less offensive, less whatever it is that's causing them to stop you loving yourself. And it's a tricky situation. Sometimes people will say things to me like, everybody dislikes me, everybody hates me. And my response to that is, well, you're probably wrong. There are probably lots of people who do like you, and not that many people dislike you. However, if you're correct, and lots of people do dislike you, why do you think that is? You know, and I know that sounds really harsh, but really the thing that we all need is a healthy dose of reality, don't we? A bit of realistic response from people. So, as I say to people, it's probably not true. You're probably exaggerating. You know, for everyone to dislike you is, it's very unlikely. But if it is true, well, there's only one common factor for all of those people, isn't there? You know, and that's you. So you must be the problem. You must be the issue. So have a look at it and decide what you're going to do to fix it, put it right. And let's go back to the thing we said at the beginning. You know, loving yourself. If you don't absolutely love the way you are, the things you do, and the way you behave, why on earth not? Why are you doing something you don't like? I really don't get that. Sometimes people have said to me, oh, you're a really nice person, you're a good person. And I said, well, aren't you? Surely you are as well. Oh, I don't know. And to me, that's a crazy thing to even think about yourself. The one person that you have complete control over is you. In fact, the only person that you have complete control over is you. So, make that person the best person that you can be. Make it a person you adore, you think is wonderful. I really can't put this across enough. If you don't love yourself, then you need to fix yourself so that you can love yourself. And in all seriousness, you can't expect anyone else to love you if you can't love yourself. You know, people say to me sometimes, oh, it would be different if somebody cared for me, if somebody loved for me, then I'd think more of myself. No, I'm afraid that's not how it's going to work. The thing that needs to come first is your love and appreciation of yourself. When that happens, then it's almost as though you're selling yourself to other people. That's a bit tricky, isn't it? I'm not sure that's a great expression. Selling, I mean selling, you know, £1 an hour or something. I mean, you're promoting, that's a better word, isn't it? You're promoting yourself to other people in a positive way. And if you don't love yourself, you will be promoting yourself to other people in a negative way. Now, there are all sorts of nuances and wrinkles to this. There are some people who say self-effacing things, self-demeaning things, you know, they say, oh, I'm rubbish at that. And one of the reasons they say things like that is that they want other people to say, no, you're really good at that. You're really good. And then they feel a bit better about it. And that's sort of fair enough. although I think that those people really are a little bit lacking in their self-love because they need constant reassurance. But it may not be a disaster if they know how to get some reassurance from people, and they in their lives they're surrounded by people who are prepared to reassure them, and by reassuring them, the other person who does the reassurance also feels nice. Then maybe it's a workable situation. Maybe everyone benefits from it. Not what I would choose. I certainly wouldn't want to be in a situation where I needed to have reassurance from anyone else to know that I was a decent person. Because if I've got to check with somebody else, then it's obviously not obvious to me whether I'm being a good person, and that's not good enough for me. It has to be obvious to me that the things I'm doing are the things that I'm proud of and pleased about. And I appreciate, you may be listening to this thinking, God, conceited idiot. He's just bigging himself up, saying how good he is. But I'm not saying how good I am. All I'm saying is I do the things in life that I think are reasonable and nice and hopefully make me a good person. And why wouldn't anyone? I just don't understand why anyone wouldn't do that. It's really confusing to me. I suppose some people are born with a desire to be awkward and obstructive and whatever, but I really don't get it, and I'm so pleased that I don't get it. I just don't see any benefit to that at all. And I would encourage you to not see any benefit to that either. I can't see a positive side to it. But it is a bit of I appreciate it's a bit of a chicken and egg situation. You say to yourself something like, "Oh, I did this, so it wasn't very good. I'm not a very nice person. People won't like me." And then because you feel like that, your interactions are a little bit more awkward or a little bit more reluctant, and you don't make good interactions with people. You expect people to dislike you. You expect people to have a bit of a negative thing about you. And of course, when you feel like that, when you have that outlook, that expectation of people, something inside you makes that true, because that's what you'd be comfortable with. That's what you expect. And we pretty much always get what we expect from relationships, because the vibes that we give, the interactions that we give are designed to make us feel as though we know what the situation is. Us humans don't like surprises. If we expect somebody to not get on with us, then our interactions with them are priming that response. They're priming that, "Oh, he's not going to get on with you" response. Because that's what we expect. That's what we're comfortable with. When I say comfortable with, I mean comfortable in that we were expecting it, not comfortable in that that's what we would prefer, because there's a huge difference. But hopefully you can see what I'm saying. What we expect when we meet people, when we interact with people for the first time, is what we've really tried to achieve, try to make the outcome, because that fits with our expectations, and we aren't sophisticated enough to have a set of expectations, a set of things that we think are going to happen, and yet we operate in a way to not make those things try and happen. That isn't how we work. We're very simple, really. If we think this person we're going to meet is going to have an issue with something, not really get on well with us, we're sort of ready for that, and we try to make that come true, because then we all know where we are. Yeah. So that's a bit of a negative loop to get into, and although I really appreciate that it's hard to change these loops that we're in, it's fairly simple. There's a difference between simple and easy. Easy is no effort required. Simple is not complicated. So it is simple, but it's not easy. It's not complicated, but it will take some effort. Yeah. So the first thing is, the very first thing that I would suggest you do is say to yourself, all right, what is it about me that I don't like? What are the aspects of me that aren't what I would prefer? How would I much more prefer to be? What would I like to be different about me? And if those things are things that you genuinely want, then you can make them happen. You can make them you can make them exist. It's, yeah, you could say, I want to be a millionaire. That is going to make you any more likable, is it? You might be a horrible millionaire if you're a horrible poor person. You might be a marvellous millionaire if you're a marvellous poor person. Having money won't make any difference to what sort of person you are. It just makes you more able to spend money in that situation. So don't look at material things when you say what you want. Look at characteristics. How do you want to be? What is it about you that you want people to notice, to enjoy? What do you want to enjoy about interactions? And that's the most important thing, I believe. If person A and I are having a conversation, it might be nice that person A enjoys the conversation with me. Yeah, that's quite a nice thing. But what's more important to me is that I enjoy the conversation that I have with person A. Because I have to deal with all the people that have conversations with me, don't I? And if my conversations, my interactions are good, that affects me every time. So I don't really have to worry about what this person thinks. What I really want is for me to have a pleasant experience. And you could say, that sounds selfish. Well, it's not really, is it? Because by me having a better interaction, so does the other person. And so do all the people that I have interactions with. It's almost like the reverse of loving yourself as the most important thing. If you don't, then you're not going to set out in a way that's good for everyone. All right, so do this thing where you look at yourself and say, what do I want? What would I prefer? How do I want to be this way? And then remember, simple but not easy. You just keep reminding yourself, this is how you want to be. This is what I prefer. This is what I want. This is the person I want to be. And I think there's great value in actually writing a description of yourself, the person you want to be. I don't think there's much value in writing a description of yourself as you are if you're a person you don't like, because every time you look back on it, it will tend to draw you back to it a little bit. I suppose some people might look back at it and say, wow, thank goodness I'm not like that anymore. That's a reminder to not be like that. So maybe it would work for some people. It wouldn't work for me. I would much rather focus on where I want to be, where I'm going, and then think about how I'm going to get there. Anyway, don't want to go on for too long. I just want to really emphasize the importance of loving yourself. And it's not loving yourself solely for your benefit. Everyone benefits when you love yourself. Yeah? And don't be fooled by these people who come across as loving themselves and tell you how wonderful they are and how marvelous they are. They probably don't actually love themselves. They just talk all the time in that way to try to convince themselves that they do love themselves, and that's really sad. This pretend love of yourself is, it's a very sad thing. All right, I'll speak to you soon. Hope you found this useful. And as always, if you have any comments or questions, pop them down below here, and I'll do my best to answer them. And if you want to email me, you can do that as well. All right, thanks a lot. Bye bye.